Hey guys, I am Sleep Manager tonight. We're diving straight into something your body already knows, but your schedule keeps ignoring why you sleep, what happens when you don't, and why you really shouldn't try to live on 4 hours and good vibes. Picture this. You're standing in the kitchen, staring into the fridge, unsure why you opened it. You've read the same email 3 times and still can't find the part that matters. You're emotional about a tortilla chip commercial. Congratulations, you're sleep deprived. And you probably won't survive this, at least not gracefully. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is there. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You start the night horizontal blanket tucked under one foot because chaos reigns, and your brain begins its quiet ritual, detaching from the day. You don't notice it, but something deep inside you is rebooting neurons, changing frequencies like a nightclub, slowly switching to jazz. And here's the first strange thing. Nobody really knows exactly why we sleep. We know it's essential. We know what happens when we skip it. But the why remains one of science's spiciest mysteries. It's like discovering a mysterious door in your house that you have to walk through every night, but no one's sure what's on the other side. Some theories say sleep evolved to conserve energy. Others say it's about cellular repair. One popular view, that sleep is your brain's maintenance window, like turning off your laptop to install updates. Miss too many restarts and well, you start glitching. You'd think we'd have figured it out by now. But scientists still debate whether sleep's main purpose is physical restoration, brain cleaning, or some wild combination of both. What's certain is that it's not optional. Miss enough sleep and the effects are brutal. Within 24 hours of staying awake, you'll feel foggy. Memory slows. Focus gone. After 36 hours, your blood pressure rises. Hormones misfire. Microsleeps begin. Your brain literally powers down for a few seconds at a time, even while your eyes are open. After 72 hours, it gets weird. Hallucinations, paranoia, mood chaos. Your brain begs for unconsciousness, like a toddler in a candy store. There's a chilling medical condition called fatal familial insomnia, where people lose the ability to sleep permanently. Within months, their health collapses, the brain deteriorates, and eventually, they die. That's how necessary sleep is. Without it, we unravel. And yet we treat it like a luxury. We brag about pulling all-nighters, wear exhaustion like a badge, sip caffeine at midnight and call it grind culture. But deep inside, your body knows better. Even one bad night triggers a cascade. Your immune system falters. Your gut bacteria start partying in all the wrong ways. Your cortisol stress hormone extraordinaire rises like a tide. Your brain's emotional centers go into overdrive, especially the amygdala, which handles fear and anger. That's why you cry when your toast burns, or snap at the barista for writing your name as Greg when your name is clearly not Greg. You probably wouldn't survive modern life without at least pretending to sleep. But here's the good news: your body wants to help. It craves rhythm. It builds sleep pressure throughout the day using a molecule called adenosine. The longer you're awake, the more adenosine builds up in your brain, pushing you towards slumber. And when you finally close your eyes, boom, that chemical grip starts to loosen. Caffeine, by the way, works by blocking those adenosine receptors. It doesn't give you energy, it just hides the tired. But you can't trick biology forever. Eventually, the need for sleep floods back. And when it does, your brain doesn't care if you're busy behind on emails or halfway through a very bingeable series. It will take rest, even if that means you start dozing in a Zoom call with your camera still on. So now here you are. Breathing slows, eyes flutter, muscles release their grip on tension. You're not gone, but you're going. And whether it's for 8 hours or a power nap in a stolen moment, you're entering a realm where reality dissolves and healing begins. And we're just getting started. You're drifting now, not quite asleep, not quite awake. The edges of the world are blurring like watercolor in the rain. You feel slow, heavy, quiet. But deep inside your skull, something amazing is happening. Your brain is about to run a cycle that's more refreshing than a green smoothie and more complicated than a tax form written in Latin. Welcome to brainwash mode, your brain's midnight rinse cycle. While you're stretched out under your blanket, looking like a sleepy burrito, your brain is flushing out its own trash. Literally. All day long, your neurons have been firing, thinking, feeling, remembering, stressing, and all that action produces waste. Not candy wrappers and old receipts, but metabolic byproducts like beta amyloid, a protein linked to Alzheimer's disease. It builds up during wakefulness like dust settling on furniture, and you've got a cosmic feather duster built in. But the brain's cleaning crew only comes out at night, specifically during deep sleep. That's when your glymphatic system, think of it as your neural janitorial staff, kicks into gear. Cerebrospinal fluid rushes through your brain tissue, washing out toxins, debris, leftover neurotransmitters, and the general clutter of consciousness. Scientists still debate exactly how this process works. Some say the space between brain cells literally expands during sleep, making it easier for the fluid to flow through and clean. Others are still studying the precise timing, but the consensus is clear: without sleep, your brain becomes a dirty fish tank. You can almost feel it happening. The rinse, the refresh, the sweep of neural breath mint across your mental landscape. If you've ever woken up after good sleep and felt like someone just decluttered your thoughts, you weren't wrong. They did. Your brain did. Quietly, while you snored. And here's the twist. This flushing process doesn't happen when you're awake. You can't catch up with meditation or rest. It only kicks in when you're in deep sleep, especially during non-REM stages 3 and 4, the stuff we often skip when we're interrupted by alarms or late-night scrolling. You wouldn't survive long without this rinse cycle. In fact, studies on sleep deprivation show cognitive decline almost immediately. Decision-making tanks. Focus vanishes. And over time, the long-term risks rise: Alzheimer's, heart disease, mood disorders. It's not just about feeling groggy. It's about keeping your brain's physical environment safe. Imagine trying to live in a house where no one ever takes out the trash. That's your brain after 3 bad nights of sleep. A toxic swamp of leftover thought sludge. And it gets even more fascinating. Some research shows that certain glial cells, the brain's support staff, actually shrink during sleep to create more space for the cleaning fluid. It's like the walls of the city folding back to let the street sweepers through. Here's a quirky tidbit. These cleaning waves have a rhythm. Some scientists describe them as slow oscillations pulses that help move the fluid along like a neural tide. Picture a gentle wave washing over your brain again and again, carrying stress and waste away. And you're lying there, peacefully unaware, maybe dreaming about missing a class you never signed up for, or showing up to work in a giraffe costume. Meanwhile, your brain is conducting the most efficient night crew in the universe. But there's a catch. You need enough deep sleep for this process to work. That means no all-nighters, no 5-hour sprints, no I'll make it up on Saturday. The glymphatic system doesn't do back orders. If you miss it, the gunk builds up. And over time, your mind gets foggy. Not because you're lazy, because you're unclean. At a cellular level. So now as you settle into a deeper sleep cycle, the cleaning continues. Neurons pause their chatter. Blood flow shifts. The tide rises. And your brain resets quietly, scrubbing away all the moments you didn't know you needed to forget. You're being rinsed, rebooted, prepared. Because when you wake up, you're going to need that brain again, preferably not full of metaphysical lint. You're curled into your blanket like a cinnamon roll, now breathing slow, face smushed into your pillow. Safe. Still. But imagine this. You're a small mammal in the Pleistocene, fur-matted ears, twitching, heart thumping. You've found a quiet spot in a hollow tree, but now you have to do the unthinkable. Close your eyes, fall unconscious, become essentially defenseless in a world filled with fangs. And yet, you do. That's the first clue that sleep isn't some evolutionary accident. It's essential. Because why would nature let any creature shut down like that, unless what happens during sleep is so vital that it outweighs the risk of being eaten? Even back then, sleep wasn't a luxury. It was a survival strategy. You might think being awake more often would give early animals the edge. More time to find food, mate, fight, or run. But no. Across the entire animal kingdom, every species sleeps. From insects to elephants, from snakes to sharks. It's nearly universal. The methods vary. Sure, some fish nap with one eye open and octopuses twitch through color-shifting REM, but the act itself, non-negotiable. Scientists still debate exactly when sleep evolved, but the prevailing theory is that it predates even the split between vertebrates and invertebrates. That means you, the house cat, and that weird jellyfish all share a deep evolutionary legacy of bedtime. That's right. Even jellyfish sleep. In 2017, researchers watched tiny upside-down jellyfish, which have no brain, enter a state of reduced activity, lower responsiveness, and nightly rest. No brain, no problem. Apparently, even floating blobs of collagen need to take 5. Which raises the question, if something as primitive as a jellyfish sleeps, is it possible that sleep itself is more fundamental than thought? You lie there, amazed, realizing you're part of an ancient biological ritual. Long before books, before language, before breakfast, there was sleep. Silent, shared, and vital. You start to picture what sleep might have looked like across the ages. Bats tucked into cave ceilings. Zebras sleeping standing up. Birds shutting down one hemisphere of the brain while the other stays alert just enough to fly or avoid danger. This is unihemispheric sleep, and dolphins are experts at it. They literally sleep with half their brain at a time. One eye closes, the other stays open. Because drowning is a terrible way to nap. And still they sleep. You meanwhile need about 7 to 9 hours. That's quite a lot of shutdown for a creature who's no longer being stalked by saber-toothed tigers. But even in our modern comfort with doors locks and blackout curtains, our bodies insist on holding on to this ancient cycle. Why? Because what happens while you're unconscious is more critical than anything you could accomplish by staying awake. Miss a night and you feel it. Miss several and your body reacts like it's under attack. Your reaction time slows. Your immune system freaks out. Your muscles lose tone. And your emotions They swing wildly like a toddler on a sugar high. You probably wouldn't survive long in the wild like that. One sleepless night by the campfire, and boom, your dinner. Evolution doesn't tolerate inefficiency. Sleep must provide something too valuable to give up even for the risk. And yet you live in a world that constantly tempts you to cheat it, to pull all-nighters, to grind, to survive on caffeine and stubbornness. But your biology doesn't care. It's still wired like that little mammal in the hollow tree, desperate for safety, silence, and those precious hours of repair. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some birds that migrate for days straight actually take microsleeps mid-flight. They dip in and out of sleep for seconds at a time, barely noticeable, but just enough to reset their brain. Your brain, not so lucky. It demands full shutdown, and it's selfish about it. You can try to push through, fight the yawn, slam the coffee, crank up the lights, but eventually sleep takes the wheel. And when it does, no predator, no email, no deadline can stop it. So now, as you curl deeper into your blanket, imagine yourself as part of a sleeping lineage that spans hundreds of millions of years. Every night you participate in a ritual older than language. A ritual that says, rest is not weakness. Rest is survival. And you're doing just fine. You're slipping deeper now, past the threshold of drowsiness, into full, steady sleep. Your breathing is rhythmic. Your muscles are loose. If anyone tries to talk to you at this moment, they'll get a grunt, maybe a twitch. But beneath the stillness, your brain is performing a 4-act play. Welcome to the sleep cycle, a looping sequence of phases more choreographed than a ballet, more technical than a rocket launch, and possibly more satisfying than finishing a good sandwich. It starts with stage 1, that light dozy phase where you hover just above full unconsciousness. You're easily awakened here. Maybe you twitch. Maybe you feel like you're falling. You're not really gone, but you're not here either. This is the liminal lobby of the sleep hotel. Don't unpack just yet. Then comes stage 2, where your body temperature drops and your heart rate slows. Your brain starts firing off these little pulses called sleep spindles and K-complexes. Think of them as neural shushes that block out external noise. Someone could drop a book in the hallway and your brain will throw up a quick, "not now" signal. You're drifting, protected by your brain's own soundproof curtain. Then we plunge into the deep end, stage 3, also known as slow wave sleep or deep sleep. This is the heavy stuff. If stage 1 is sipping chamomile, stage 3 is being chloroformed by a teddy bear. Your brain waves shift into long, slow delta rhythms. Muscles repair, bones strengthen. Your immune system does push-ups. Growth hormone surges. If you're a kid, this is when you grow. If you're an adult, this is when your body calls the spa. And then just when everything seems calm, your brain slams into REM sleep. Rapid eye movement, where the rules break and the weirdness begins. Your brain lights up like it's awake. Heart rate spikes. Breathing becomes shallow. But here's the plot twist. Your body becomes paralyzed. Completely. It's like someone flipped a switch and turned your skeleton into a sandbag. This is to prevent you from physically acting out your dreams. Thanks, evolution. Scientists still debate the exact purpose of each sleep stage, but most agree that this cycling between deep sleep and REM is essential for everything from learning to mood regulation. It's not just about how long you sleep, it's about getting the right balance of these stages. You probably wouldn't survive well on fragmented sleep that skips deep and REM phases. That's why broken sleep, hello, new parents, isn't just tiring, it's brain starving. Here's a quirky tidbit. REM sleep happens in bursts. Early in the night, It's brief, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. But as the night goes on, REM periods get longer, up to 5 minutes by morning. That means most of your dreaming happens in the early hours right before you wake up. So those flying dinosaur bicycle pool party dreams, they're practically a breakfast appetizer. And the cycle repeats, from light to deep to REM and back again, about every 90 minutes, like waves rolling in. The average person gets 4 to 6 of these per night, depending on how long they sleep and how many times their neighbor's dog decides to bark at a leaf. You might think sleep is passive, but it's a full-on neurological symphony. Your brain is orchestrating transitions between electrical patterns, heart rates, hormone flows, and memory files. And all of this happens without your permission. You just lie there, drooling into your pillow, while your mind conducts miracles. Now picture this: you're on your third cycle of the night. Your body has hit its stride. The slow wave repair is fading, and the REM fireworks are building. This is prime time for emotional processing, memory integration, maybe even creative insights. Artists, musicians, and writers have all credited REM dreams for sparking genius. Paul McCartney said the melody for Yesterday came to him in a dream. That's right, your brain writes songs while you're unconscious. But mess with this cycle, interrupt it with noise, light, or alarm clock, violence, and the benefits shrink. You might get the hours, but not the quality, and your body knows the difference. You tuck your chin slightly, shift your legs without waking, and move into the next loop. The sleep train keeps rolling. Not a straight track, but a carousel. Light, deep, dream, repeat. And you don't need to steer. You don't need to think. You just need to keep drifting while your brain does what it was built to do: run the greatest nightly show in the universe. Your eyelids flutter, not open, just in motion. Beneath them, your eyes dart left, right, pause, then twitch again. You're in REM sleep, the dream zone, where reality unravels and your brain builds stories out of spare parts. And tonight, you're riding a giant hamster through a library made of jelly. Totally normal. This is the strange, surreal heart of sleep, the part we call dreaming. It's vivid, emotional, often weird enough to make you question your own sanity. But what is it? Why does your brain tell itself elaborate, usually unhinged stories while your body is essentially paralyzed? Scientists still debate what dreams are for. Some say dreams are just byproducts, static from all that neural activity during REM. Others believe dreaming serves a deep purpose, rehearsing threats, processing emotions, or consolidating memory. Basically, your brain's night shift is either nonsense or mental therapy, possibly both. One theory, called the threat simulation theory, suggests that dreams help you practice surviving. Like a flight simulator, but in your subconscious. You're chased by zombies, not because your brain hates you, but because it's rehearsing how you'd react in danger. Great, right? Except the zombies are sometimes your old gym teacher, and you're naked. So, mixed results. Another school of thought, the activation synthesis model, argues dreams are just your brain trying to make sense of random signals, like flipping through TV channels too fast and your mind panics and goes, "Oh, it's a cooking show, but with your ex and a goat." Go! But here's where it gets weird. Even though the logic in dreams is bananas, your emotional brain doesn't know the difference. The same regions that light up during real experiences, fear, joy, love, light up during dreams. That's why you wake up with your heart racing after a nightmare, or miss someone all day just because they made a dream cameo. You probably wouldn't survive without dreams. Not emotionally, at least. People deprived of REM sleep become irritable, anxious, and sometimes even hallucinate. In one study, when participants were woken every time they entered REM, they got increasingly fragile, confused, and paranoid. It's like cutting the scenes out of a play and expecting the story to still make sense. And your brain defends dreaming. If you're REM deprived for a while, it fights back by entering REM sooner and more intensely when you finally crash. That's called REM rebound, and it's your brain's way of saying, I have dreams to process, Karen. Move. Here's a quirky tidbit during REM sleep. The part of your brain responsible for logic and self-awareness. The dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is mostly off-duty. That's why you can dream you're taking an exam underwater with a pineapple and just roll with it. Your brain isn't correcting the plot holes, yet somehow dreams can inspire real creativity. Mary Shelley dreamed Frankenstein. Elias Howe dreamed the sewing machine. Countless scientists, artists, and inventors have woken up with solutions, or at least very cool metaphors. Still, not all dreams are pleasant. Nightmares have their own category, often tied to stress, trauma, or spicy food eaten irresponsibly late. But even nightmares may serve a purpose, confronting fears in a safe simulation. It's like emotional CrossFit. And then there's lucid dreaming, where you become aware you're dreaming and can even control the action. Not everyone can do it, but those who can say it feels like a sandbox for the soul. Want to fly? You can. Want to talk to your dream boss and quit? Absolutely. Want to eat 1,000 waffles with 0 consequences, you monster? Enjoy. But whether you remember them or not, you dream every night. Multiple times. In color, in motion, in a dimension, stitched together from memory, fear, fantasy, and stray mental lint. Some dreams help you heal. Some let you grieve. Some just feature penguins hosting game shows. All of it matters, maybe not in content, but in function. So now your body remains still, but your brain. It's building scenes, solving puzzles, throwing emotional spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. You're floating through a world that doesn't make sense, but somehow leaves you feeling more human. And when the dream ends, you won't remember all of it. Most fades within minutes of waking. But a piece of it lingers. A feeling, a question, a whisper from your own subconscious reminding you that part of being alive is spending each night somewhere else. You're slowly rising now, not from bed, but from inside yourself. Somewhere between a dream about fluorescent kangaroos and your alarm clock's betrayal. Your brain has quietly been doing something far more impressive than remembering where you left your socks. It's been organizing your life. Sleep isn't just a break. It's a filing system. Every night while you snore, sigh, and occasionally drool, your brain is sorting through the chaos of the day, deciding what to keep, what to toss, and what to turn into. That unsettling montage dream about being late for a wedding that doesn't exist. Let's start with memory. You go through your day taking in data names, faces, TikToks, passwords. You immediately forget. All of that lands in your brain's inbox, specifically in the hippocampus, a seahorse-shaped structure responsible for short-term memory. But short-term memory is just a draft folder. It's not built to hold everything. During sleep, especially deep sleep and REM, that information gets reviewed. Meaningful stuff gets copied and pasted into your long-term storage, the neocortex. Trivia deleted. Useless stress facts. Sadly, sometimes kept. And here's where things get fancy. Your brain doesn't just store information, it reorganizes it. It connects new experiences to old ones. It strengthens important memories. It links patterns. That's why you sometimes wake up with a sudden insight, because your brain kept working the problem while you were off dreaming about sky frogs. Scientists still debate which stage of sleep does the heaviest memory lifting. Some say slow wave sleep helps consolidate facts and motor skills like playing piano or remembering historical dates. Others believe REM sleep helps encode emotional and procedural memories, like how to parallel park without crying. But what's clear is that sleep acts like a neural editor, deleting typos, highlighting themes, and moving key information to where it belongs. You probably wouldn't survive grad school, or even IKEA assembly instructions, without this nightly filing system. Here's a quirky tidbit: naps. Even short ones can have memory benefits. In one study, people who took a 90-minute nap after learning something scored significantly better on tests later. It's like your brain says, "Cool, let me just save that real quick before putting it somewhere safe." But it's not all academics. Sleep also helps with emotional memory, processing things that made you cry, cringe, or rage. Quit a conversation. During REM, your brain replays emotional experiences, but with the sting turned down. You re-experience the feeling, but with a little distance, a little processing. That's why something awful on Monday often feels more manageable by Friday. If you've been sleeping, it's like emotional laundering. Your brain soaks the worst of it, wrings it out, folds it neatly, and hands it back in a less painful form. And yet, despite how amazing this is, you sometimes treat sleep like an optional side quest. You stay up late to cram, thinking more waking hours equals more productivity. But your brain's like, "You want to remember this? Cool. Go lie down." In fact, without sleep, you retain less, not more. All-nighters might feel heroic, but you're cramming data into a leaky bucket. No consolidation, no connection. Just a flash flood of information that's mostly gone by sunrise. And for kids and teens, sleep is even more important. Their brains are not just organizing, they're growing. Learning languages, developing abstract thinking, building the scaffolding of identity. Every night is construction night. Adults too. Learning a new skill. Trying to change a habit. Sleep is where those changes settle in. That's when your brain runs the update, not during your 6th cup of coffee at 3 p.m. And this doesn't only apply to conscious learning. Even your muscle memory improves during sleep. That's right, you could be working on your tennis serve or learning to juggle, and your brain will rehearse those motor sequences while you're unconscious. So technically, you are training in your sleep. You're more than a body recharging its battery. You're a brain, sorting the mail, backing up files, syncing folders, cleaning up the desktop, and adding emotional antivirus protection. And you didn't have to lift a finger. So now, as you curl deeper into your pillow, know this. While the world pauses, your brain is still working, quietly, shaping who you are, what you remember, and how you'll feel tomorrow. And that test, that meeting, that awkward thing you said 3 years ago that still haunts you. Yeah, your brain's working on that too. You're still asleep, wrapped in darkness, unaware that your immune system is tiptoeing through your bloodstream like a security patrol on the night shift. And that scratchy throat you almost felt earlier, already being handled. See, while you dream of surfing on lava or dating a polite velociraptor, your body is running repair protocols. One of the most critical, keeping you from becoming a petri dish. Sleep isn't just a brain thing, it's a full-body operation. Your immune system needs those nightly hours to coordinate attacks, restock defenses, and update its memory banks. Think of it like antivirus software running its deepest scans while you're not using the system. One of the most powerful shifts that happens during sleep is in your cytokine production. Cytokines are signaling proteins, your body's internal text messages that tell immune cells where to go, what to destroy, or when to call for backup. During deep sleep, your body ramps up cytokine production, allowing your immune system to plan like it's preparing for battle. Scientists still debate exactly which sleep stages are most important for immune function, but deep, non-REM sleep seems to be the MVP here. It's when your white blood cells, particularly T cells, become more active, sticking to infected cells like glue and launching attacks with microscopic intensity. Miss sleep, though, those T cells start getting sluggish. Studies have shown that just one night of bad sleep can reduce immune responsiveness by up to 70%. That's the difference between I shook hands with a sick person but feel fine, and I shook hands with a sick person and now I am soup. You probably wouldn't survive flu season without good sleep. Not comfortably anyway. Ever noticed how your body demands sleep when you're sick? That's no coincidence. It's a survival instinct. Fever fatigue, the whole can't lift my head vibe. It's your body forcing you into sleep mode so it can heal. In fact, during infection, your body increases slow wave sleep because that's when repair is most effective. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some animals drastically increase their sleep time when infected. Fruit flies, for example, sleep more to survive bacterial infections. It's not laziness, it's strategy. And get this, vaccines are more effective when you're well rested. In one study, participants who slept normally after a flu shot produced twice as many antibodies as those who were sleep deprived. That's like showing up to a sword fight with an actual sword, or showing up late, tired, and trying to fight with a rubber chicken. Your body is constantly building immunological memory, essentially keeping a diary of every intruder it's ever fought. And most of that process happens at night. While you're wrapped up in blankets and vaguely dreaming of being chased by sentient garden gnomes, your body is teaching immune cells how to recognize future threats. And yet modern life nudges you to skimp on rest. Early meetings, late Netflix, midnight scrolling. You stretch your waking hours and wonder why you keep getting colds. But the truth is simple. Your immune system can't defend you if you don't give it time to regroup. Even chronic sleep debt, less than 6 hours a night over weeks, suppresses your body's ability to fight infection. It increases inflammation. And it slows down recovery if you do get sick. It's like trying to win a war with sleepy soldiers. And here's something sneakily relevant. Good sleep may even play a role in cancer defense. Natural killer cells, immune agents that seek and destroy abnormal cells, drop in activity with poor sleep. Fewer patrols, more threats slipping through. You're not just resting, you're rebuilding, reinforcing, giving your body the quiet hours it needs to stay strong. Every hour of deep sleep is a strategy session. A cleanup crew and a battalion march fighting infections you didn't even know you had. So tonight, as you snooze softly, wrapped in warmth, remember that you're not just dreaming, you're defending. Quietly, powerfully, consistently. Your body's keeping score. And sleep is how you stay in the lead. You're floating now deep in the night, wrapped in stillness. Outside your body, not much seems to be happening, but inside, it's a hormonal ballet, and your bloodstream is the stage. Each night, while you drift through dreams and drool into your pillow, Your body is pulling off a perfectly timed chemical performance, and you don't even know it's happening. Lucky you. The headliner of this show, melatonin. Often called the sleep hormone, it's released by your pineal gland. A pea-sized structure deep in your brain that responds to darkness like a well-trained stagehand. As the sun sets and light fades, melatonin levels start to rise, whispering to your body, "It's time." You probably feel it without realizing. The yawn, the eye rub, that cozy fog that settles in your brain around 10 p.m. or earlier, if you've been pretending you're not exhausted since 8. That's melatonin easing you into sleep like a warm blanket made of biology. But melatonin doesn't knock you out, it just opens the door to sleep. Other hormones step in to choreograph what happens next. Cortisol, the stress hormone, gets a bad rap, but it's not your enemy unless it's wearing clown makeup and waking you at 3 a.m. In healthy sleep, cortisol drops during the evening, letting you relax. Then a few hours before you wake, it begins to rise again, gently nudging you toward morning alertness, like a biological alarm clock that doesn't scream at you. But here's where things get out of sync. If you're exposed to blue light late at night, phones, TVs, laptops, your brain gets confused. It thinks it's still daytime. Melatonin stays suppressed, cortisol hangs around too long, and your body basically says, "What do you mean? Bedtime? I thought we were opening emails." Scientists still debate how much artificial light impacts hormonal regulation, but the consensus is growing. The more light pollution your eyes absorb after dark, the worse your sleep quality gets. You're sending the wrong cues and your internal rhythm stumbles like a tired ballerina. And speaking of rhythm, this whole system runs on your circadian clock. It's a 24-hour internal timer influenced by sunlight, food intake, movement, and social interaction. Disrupt it and everything goes sideways: your energy, digestion, temperature, mood, and yes, your ability to fall asleep like a sane person. Let's zoom in on another star of this chemical symphony: growth hormone. It's not just for kids. Adults need it too, for muscle repair, metabolism, and cellular regeneration. And guess what? It's released in large pulses during deep sleep. Miss out on those stages and your recovery slows. Gym gains fade. You feel like a bag of old spaghetti. Here's a quirky tidbit: ghrelin and leptin. Your hunger and fullness hormones are also regulated by sleep. Get less than 6 hours and ghrelin, the feed me hormone, surges while leptin, the I'm full signal, plummets. Translation: you become a snack-seeking zombie with no satiety breaks. That 2 a.m. nacho craving. That's endocrine sabotage. And if you're wondering why your blood sugar's a mess after a sleepless night, say hello to insulin resistance. Even one bad night makes your body respond to sugar like it forgot how to math. Over time, chronic sleep disruption increases the risk of type 2 diabetes, not to mention weight gain, fatigue, and that charming 3 p.m. crash where your personality briefly vacates your body. Hormones are sensitive, they're elegant, and they're brutally efficient. Disrespect your sleep and they throw off everything: your metabolism, your memory, even your skin. But when sleep flows smoothly, it's alchemy. Melatonin eases you in. Cortisol dips, then rises in rhythm. Growth hormone repairs your body. Hunger hormones stay balanced. Your blood sugar behaves. Your stress response is reset. You wake up feeling like a functioning human, not a gremlin in gym clothes. And the best part, you don't have to control any of it. You just have to not interfere. Dim the lights, skip the caffeine after dinner. Put the phone down. Give your hormones the space to do their beautiful dance. So as you sink deeper into your bed, remember you are the theatre, the stage, the performer, and the audience. And tonight, the curtain is rising. Let the hormones take it from here. You're weightless now, dreaming of distant forests, or floating toast, or whatever your subconscious decided to stitch together tonight. But elsewhere in the world, above oceans, under ice sheets, deep in treetops, something extraordinary is happening. Animals are sleeping too. And some of them are doing it way better than you. You who needs a mattress, a weighted blanket, total silence, and maybe 3 lavender sprays to fall asleep, are about to feel very humbled. Let's start with dolphins. These majestic, squeaky geniuses sleep with half their brain at a time. It's called unihemispheric slow-wave sleep. And yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. One hemisphere powers down while the other stays alert. One eye closes, the other keeps watch. It's like being half asleep and still fully functional, which, to be fair, describes most humans before coffee. Why this trick? Because dolphins need to keep swimming, literally, to breathe. They have to surface for air even while asleep. So their brains evolved a workaround sleep without full unconsciousness. You probably wouldn't survive one day as a dolphin. Your brain would either forget to breathe or accidentally beach itself. But dolphins aren't alone. Birds do this too, especially those that migrate long distances. Take the great frigate bird, which can fly for days over open ocean. During flight, it catches micro-naps of a few seconds to minutes, using unihemispheric sleep. You try sleeping on a red-eye flight. This bird sleeps while flying. No reclining seat, no snacks. And walruses. These guys will sleep floating vertically in the water like giant whiskered pool noodles. Others curl on the ice and snooze for up to 19 hours straight. A true inspiration. Then there's the armadillo, which can sleep 18 hours a day, a champion of rest if there ever was one. Sloths, bats, koalas, all notorious oversleepers. But that's not laziness, it's energy efficiency. Some of these animals have low metabolic rates or limited food sources, so they conserve energy by simply snoozing more. Here's a quirky tidbit. Giraffes sleep only about 30 minutes to 2 hours a day in tiny chunks. They doze, standing up, and their full, deep sleep lasts seconds at a time. Why? Because lying down makes them vulnerable to predators. And awkward. Scientists still debate how sleep evolved across such wildly different species, and why some animals sleep a lot while others get by on power naps. Is it metabolism, predator risk, brain complexity? Likely a mix of all three. But the fact remains, every animal sleeps in its own weird, perfect way. Even insects show sleep-like behavior. Fruit flies have sleep cycles. Cockroaches lie still for hours. And bees. They stop buzzing, go limp, and sometimes even fall over sideways like tiny drunkards on flower petals. And it gets even stranger. Some reptiles, like lizards, exhibit brainwave patterns that resemble human REM and non-REM sleep. That's right, your bearded dragon might be dreaming about crickets. And what about animals that hibernate? Bears, for instance, sleep for months, but it's not continuous. Their metabolism slows, they recycle body fluids, and their brain shifts into a low-power state. It's not classic sleep, but it's certainly not wakefulness. A sort of biological power-save mode. You, meanwhile, barely survive, losing 1 hour to daylight saving time. And fish, they doze too. Parrotfish even create slimy sleeping bags, a mucus cocoon to protect themselves from predators and parasites overnight. Sweet dreams in your snot blanket. You begin to realize sleep is not just a luxury, it's a survival mechanism woven into every corner of life on Earth. From the tiniest bug to the blue whale, everything alive needs a break. A pause. A moment of restoration. But humans, we complicate it. We fight it. We resent it. We bribe ourselves to go to bed like reluctant toddlers. We invented caffeine TikTok and overnight shifts because apparently nature's most sacred biological rhythm wasn't enough. So we broke it, or at least bent it into something barely recognizable. Still, when you sleep well, really sleep, you're closer to the natural world than you realize. You're just one creature in a long evolutionary line of beings who figured out that stepping away from consciousness isn't defeat. It's design. So now as your breath evens out and your brain settles into another REM cycle, let the animals take over your imagination for a moment. Picture the owl dozing on a branch, the bat tucked into a cave, the lion in tall grass paws twitching with dreams. You are part of that tribe, and tonight you're sleeping exactly as nature intended. You're lying in your bed just as the night should be winding down. But your brain has decided to host a thought rave. Did you leave the stove on? Why did you say you too to the waiter after he told you to enjoy your meal 3 years ago? And why, oh why, are you suddenly thinking about the exact layout of your third-grade classroom? Welcome to the battlefield of insomnia, where your own bed becomes enemy territory and your pillow turns into a passive-aggressive acquaintance. Insomnia isn't just not being able to sleep. It's the struggle to fall asleep, stay asleep, or wake up feeling like anything happened at all. And worse, it's often self-reinforcing. The more you worry about not sleeping, the harder it becomes to sleep. You're caught in a psychological loop with no exit ramp. Scientists still debate whether insomnia is primarily psychological, physiological, or a mix of both. Some researchers focus on hyperarousal, the idea that people with insomnia have elevated nighttime brain activity, like the default mode network revving its engines when it should be in neutral. Others see it as behavioral bad sleep hygiene stress, or inconsistent schedules, gradually rewiring the body's rhythms. Either way, insomnia can feel like a cruel prank pulled by your own nervous system. You lie in bed, heart annoyingly present, brain reciting every embarrassing moment you've ever had. The clock ticks louder than thunder. You start calculating how much sleep you'll get if you fall asleep right now. Then again, if you fall asleep now. Again. And again. Soon you're solving math problems in the dark, eyes-wide pulse climbing. You probably wouldn't survive long if this became a nightly event. Not well, anyway. Chronic insomnia is linked to anxiety, depression, weakened immunity, cardiovascular issues, and more. And your body knows it. That's why when you've had a few bad nights, you start dreading bedtime itself, which is like being scared of your own charger. And then there's sleep maintenance insomnia, waking up multiple times in the night. The old "it's 200 a.m. and now I'm wide awake for no reason special." You look at the clock. You beg your brain to go back to sleep. But instead, it decides to compose a grocery list, a playlist, and an apology email to someone you haven't spoken to since college. Here's a quirky tidbit. There's something called paradoxical insomnia, where people believe they're not sleeping even when they are. In sleep studies, they show clear signs of REM and deep sleep, yet insist they were awake all night. Their perception of time distorts in the dark. It's a reminder that sleep isn't just biological, it's psychological too. The worst part: the bedroom itself starts to feel unsafe. Not physically, emotionally. You start associating your mattress with anxiety. You avoid it. You scroll in it. You watch shows in it. Your brain stops seeing it as a cue for sleep and starts seeing it as a waiting room for frustration. So what helps? Routine. Going to bed and waking up at the same time, even on weekends. No phones in bed. No caffeine late in the day. And definitely no thinking about taxes while brushing your teeth. Give your brain a clear pattern to follow. Like a dog with a bedtime. Also, counterintuitively, don't force sleep. Sleep restriction therapy is a treatment that involves staying awake later on. Purpose to increase sleep pressure, essentially making your body so tired it can't resist. Weird. Yes. Effective often. Another method, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, CBTI. This doesn't mean lying on a couch talking about your childhood. It means retraining your thought patterns about sleep, teaching your brain that it doesn't have to spiral at 1 a.m. when it hears a creak in the hallway. And if all else fails, get out of bed. If you can't sleep after 20-30 minutes, don't just stew in the sheets. Get up. Read something boring. Stretch. Reset. Let the bed be the sacred sleep space it was meant to be, not your personal anxiety booth. Because here's the truth, your body wants to sleep. It's not broken. It's just out of rhythm, and rhythm can return. So tonight, if sleep doesn't come easily, don't fight it with panic. Breathe. Let the frustration pass like a wave. You are not failing. You're adjusting. Your brain is learning. And sleep, it's patient. It'll be back. You're awake, just barely curled up in a patch of afternoon light, your brain drifting, your limbs heavy. The day has paused, and so have you. This isn't laziness. This is nature gently insisting on a nap. And not just any nap. This is the secret weapon of productivity, clarity, emotional repair, and possibly ancient evolution. You are built to nap, not just because it feels good, though it absolutely does, but because your biology might not be wired for just one big block of nighttime sleep. In fact, some researchers believe humans evolved to follow a biphasic sleep pattern, meaning 2 sleeps per 24 hours, 1 long stretch at night and a shorter rest in the afternoon, like a sleep sandwich. And if you've ever experienced that 200 p.m. crash where you suddenly feel like your consciousness has been yanked underwater by a sleepy sea monster, you know your body doesn't care about your spreadsheet. You probably wouldn't survive some workdays without imagining a nap at the very least. Back in ancient times when lions roamed freely and Wi-Fi was non-existent, early humans may have split sleep in 2, sleeping a few hours after sundown, waking for a little while in the middle of the night, to think, talk, even pray, then returning to bed for second sleep. This idea is supported by historical texts from medieval Europe, which reference first sleep and second sleep like they were perfectly normal. And maybe they were. Scientists still debate whether biphasic sleep is our default setting or just one of many natural rhythms. But one thing's clear, daytime sleepiness isn't always a sign that something's wrong. It might just be the ghost of a rhythm we abandoned when the 9 to 5 replaced firelight. So what does modern science say about naps? Short naps, about 10 to 30 minutes, can improve alertness, mood, and memory, without the grogginess that comes from waking up in deep sleep. This is your classic power nap, short enough to be restorative, long enough to make your next meeting slightly less unbearable. Then there are longest naps around 90 minutes, which let you complete a full sleep cycle, including REM and can enhance creativity and procedural memory. Artists, pilots, athletes, and very clever toddlers use these to hit the reset button in full. And here's a quirky tidbit. NASA did a study on pilots and found that a 26-minute nap improved alertness by 54% and performance by 34%. That's right, a nap can literally sharpen your brain like a pencil. Your inbox can wait. But there are rules. Nap too long, hello sleep inertia, that groggy brain fog moment when you wake up feeling like you've been shot out of a cannon into molasses. It's real. And it's brutal. Also, nap too late in the day and you risk messing with your nighttime sleep. It's a balance. Like snacking before dinner. Too much and you're just pushing your bedtime hunger further out. Still, in many cultures, naps are treated with reverence, not guilt. Siestas in Spain. Riposo in Italy. Afternoon rest is woven into the societal rhythm, not squeezed in like a guilty pleasure. Imagine a world where your boss scheduled a nap for you. You'd cry from joy and exhaustion. But in hustle-heavy societies, naps are sometimes seen as indulgent, weak, lazy. Which is funny because some of the sharpest minds in history, Leonardo da Vinci, Winston Churchill, Salvador Dali, were devout nappers. Dali even used a technique called micro-napping, where he'd hold a spoon in his hand while dozing in a chair. The moment he drifted too far into sleep, the spoon would fall and wake him up right at the edge of consciousness, where ideas supposedly bloom like drowsy flowers. You may not need a spoon, just a sofa, or a soft patch of floor, or even your desk if your dignity can handle it. But here's the most important thing. Naps aren't about escape. They're about realignment, giving your brain a break from input, a moment to breathe, a chance to settle, process, and recharge. So if you find yourself fading this afternoon, don't fight it with caffeine and self-loathing. Maybe, just maybe, what you need isn't more effort. Maybe you just need 20 quiet minutes, a sigh, a slow blink, a chance to let go. Because sleep doesn't only belong to the night. Sometimes the most important rest happens when the sun's still up. You're lying in the dark now, body ready for rest, but your phone glows like a tiny sun in your hand. One more scroll, one more video, one more argument in a comment thread you'll forget by morning. Your brain says sleep, but the blue light says party. Welcome to the digital war on rest, where your ancient biology is constantly outmatched by modern technology. You're trying to sleep. Your devices are trying to keep you awake. The culprit isn't just entertainment. It's light, specifically blue light, which mimics daylight and suppresses melatonin, the hormone that tells your body it's time to power down. Screens, phones, tablets, TVs, laptops blast your eyes with this light long after the sun sets, confusing your internal clock like a rooster trapped in a nightclub. Scientists still debate exactly how much screen time before bed is too much, but most agree anything in the hour or two before sleep is risky. Your circadian rhythm is like a sundial carved into your brain. Shine artificial light on it at the wrong time, and it starts spinning in the wrong direction. And it's not just about light. It's about stimulation. Notifications, updates, flashing headlines. Your phone doesn't say, it's time to rest. It says, something is happening. You should care. You probably wouldn't survive a single night of 21st century insomnia without your phone trying to help by offering you 10 apps that track your sleep but require you to stay awake to set them up. Let's talk about doom scrolling. It's a term born in the pandemic era describing the endless habit of scrolling through bad news late at night. Your brain loves novelty and threat detection, so it keeps searching. But this late-night information hunt spikes cortisol and keeps your mind on edge. You're not relaxing. You're running from tigers with Wi-Fi. Here's a quirky tidbit. Some people now experience phantom phone vibrations, feeling their phone buzz when it hasn't. That's how deeply tech has infiltrated our nervous system. And don't even get started on the algorithms. They're trained to hold your attention, not protect your sleep. Autoplay never says you've had enough. Go to bed. It says, let's try one more. Just one. It's never one. What's worse is that this stimulation often arrives at the exact moment your brain is trying to wind down. You've just brushed your teeth. You're cozy, you're seconds away from slumber, and then a video pops up of someone making a cake inside a watermelon, and now you're emotionally invested. Your poor melatonin never stood a chance. And tech-based sleep disruptions go beyond just screens. The constant availability of everything emails at midnight, pings from different time zones, texts that create the illusion of urgency, trains your brain to stay on alert. You might think you're resting, but your body's still bracing for the next ding. Sleep scientists have even coined a term for this vigilance fatigue. It's what happens when your nervous system wants to relax, but keeps being jolted by small persistent threats, like buzzing phones, blinking lights, or late-night Slack messages from Gary in marketing, who never ever sleeps. But there's hope. Some people are turning to digital sunset routines, where they power down all screens 1 to 2 hours before bed. Others use blue light filters on devices or amber-tinted glasses to block the disruptive rays. And the brave, they leave their phones outside the bedroom entirely. Legends. Even tech companies are catching on. Many devices now offer bedtime or night shift modes that reduce blue light. Sleep tracking wearables promise better rest through data. Smart alarms claim to wake you during light sleep phases. It's a tech solution to a tech-created problem. But let's not overcomplicate things. Sometimes the best sleep aid is the simplest disconnect. Read a physical book. Journal. Meditate. Sit in silence. Let the world shrink down until it's just you, the hum of the fan, and the gentle slide toward unconsciousness. Because your brain isn't built for 24/7 input. It's built for rhythm, rise and rest, light and dark, noise and quiet. And when you respect that rhythm, when you choose softness over stimulation, you don't just sleep better, you live better. So tonight, when your thumb hovers over that next video pause, set the phone down. Let the glow fade. Let your mind go dim. And let yourself be bored, because boredom in the quiet dark, that's the door to dreams. You're dreaming again, or maybe not. Maybe you're hovering between sleep and wake, in that floaty state where everything feels softer and the rules of time don't apply. This in-between place isn't a glitch. It's REM sleep, and it's magic. REM stands for rapid eye movement, but that name doesn't even begin to capture what's going on inside your skull. This is the part of the night where you go full cinematic mode. Dreams are vivid. Emotions run wild. Your body lies still, but your mind is sprinting through impossible landscapes with questionable logic. You probably wouldn't survive long without REM. And no, that's not a dramatic exaggeration. REM sleep isn't just dream time. It's crucial for emotional regulation, learning, memory consolidation, and creativity. Your brain during REM is so active that if we scanned it, it would look almost identical to when you're awake. Except now, it's detached from physical reality and doing whatever it wants. Here's how it works. You typically cycle through different stages of sleep every 90 minutes. Non-REM sleep comes first lighter at the beginning, then deeper, more restorative. But then, the switch flips. You enter REM. Your heart rate increases, your brain lights up, and your voluntary muscles become temporarily paralyzed, which sounds horrifying, but actually prevents you from acting out your dreams. Thanks, evolution. Scientists still debate the exact function of REM sleep, but one leading theory is that it helps process and balance emotionally charged memories. Let's say you had an argument, or an amazing moment, or a really weird interaction involving pickles and your boss. REM is where your brain digests. The feeling of that experience softens the edges, files it appropriately, makes it less disruptive. Another theory, REM helps with creative problem solving. Your brain breaks the usual connections, plays with bizarre ideas, and sometimes wakes you up with answers. Ever heard of a eureka moment in a dream? You're not alone. Paul McCartney reportedly dreamed the melody to Yesterday. And Mary Shelley dreamed Frankenstein, all in REM. And here's a quirky tidbit. Some people are capable of lucid dreaming, a state where you realize you're dreaming while inside the dream and can sometimes even control it. Imagine choosing to fly or visit other worlds, knowing it's all a simulation and nothing can hurt you. It's basically Inception minus the suits. Lucid dreaming often occurs in REM sleep, and some folks train themselves to reach it on purpose, using methods like dream journals, reality checks, or waking up and going back to sleep with intention. The results: flying shape-shifting conversations with deceased pets. Whatever your imagination can cook up. But REM isn't always friendly. It's also the stage where nightmares occur. That's why anxiety, trauma, or sleep deprivation can make REM feel more intense. Your brain is trying to process too much, too fast. And sometimes it creates monsters. Speaking of deprivation, if you don't get enough sleep, your body becomes REM starved. And when you finally crash, it rebounds with longer, more intense REM cycles. This is called a REM rebound, and it can lead to super vivid dreams or emotional instability. Your brain basically says, "I needed this," and doubles down. And here's something wild. Newborns spend up to 50% of their sleep in REM. It's believed to be crucial for developing the nervous system, forming early neural pathways, and laying the groundwork for learning even before they understand language. As you age, the proportion of REM sleep decreases, but it never disappears. It remains the secret night school where your brain goes to sort stitch and rehearse. And yet, you can suppress REM without even realizing it. Alcohol, certain medications, stimulants, even intense stress. All of these can shorten or delay REM, which might leave you waking up technically rested, but emotionally jagged, like you missed a key part of the performance. So if you've ever had a night where you slept but didn't feel like you dreamt, chances are your REM got interrupted. And your brain, it noticed, which is why tonight matters. As you breathe slower and your body sinks deeper, your brain is preparing to write another strange little movie. It'll star you, of course, but also maybe your third-grade teacher riding a whale made of birthday cake. It'll be weird, maybe beautiful, maybe unsettling, but it'll be yours. And it'll help you face tomorrow just a little more balanced. Because REM sleep isn't just a feature, it's your nighttime therapy. You're deep now, far from the surface, not dreaming, not twitching, just still. This is slow wave sleep, also called deep sleep, and it's the anchor that holds your night together. If REM sleep is your dream theatre, deep sleep is your body's repair shop. Muscles rebuild, bones strengthen, tissues heal. It's when growth hormone releases in its biggest pulses, when your immune system does its hard reset, and when your brain begins its nightly rinse cycle. That's not poetic metaphor, it's literal. During deep sleep, your brain activates the glymphatic system, a waste-clearing process that flushes out toxins and metabolic byproducts from your neural tissues. Picture tiny janitors with brooms sweeping between neurons, cleaning up the mental gunk left behind by a full day of consciousness. And the showpiece toxin, beta amyloid, a protein fragment that when left to build up is associated with Alzheimer's disease. Scientists still debate the precise connection between poor sleep and neurodegeneration, but the evidence is sobering. Chronically, missing deep sleep might accelerate memory decline. In other words, sleep isn't just for recovery, it's for preservation. You probably wouldn't survive a healthy old age without deep sleep. Not gracefully, anyway. But deep sleep isn't guaranteed. It arrives mostly in the first half of the night, front-loaded in your earlier sleep cycles. That's why staying up late, even if you still clock 8 hours, can shortchange your body's chance at true restoration. And here's a quirky tidbit. Children spend way more time in deep sleep than adults. That's one reason they recover faster from injuries, grow faster, and sleep like warm sacks of bricks after a long day of running in circles. It's also why they can sleep through fireworks, thunderstorms, and their sibling jumping on the bed with a trumpet. As you age, deep sleep naturally decreases. By middle age, you're already getting less of it. By your 70s, it can drop significantly. And yet, it's still critical. Memory consolidation, muscle repair, emotional regulation, all depend on it. You may have noticed that after a night of interrupted sleep, you feel especially sluggish the next day. That's because you likely didn't get enough stage 3 sleep, which is the technical term for this phase. It's not light and fluffy, it's heavy, restorative, and hard to wake from. If REM is a whisper, deep sleep is a thud, and that thud has a function. During deep sleep, your parasympathetic nervous system takes over. Heart rate drops, blood pressure decreases, breathing slows. It's like your whole body presses low power mode, allowing essential systems to recover. Your stress hormone cortisol hits its lowest levels here, giving your mind and mood a break. But here's the modern tragedy. Our lifestyles make it harder to reach this state. Stimulants like caffeine delay the onset of deep sleep. Late-night stress elevates cortisol. Noise pollution, alcohol, jet lag. Each one chips away at the depth and continuity of your rest. And the worst part, you can't make up deep sleep easily. You can't just crash one weekend and get a refund on all the hours lost to stress and screens. Sleep debt is real, but the depth of sleep is even more crucial than the duration. Want more deep sleep? Try these. Cooler bedroom temperatures. Your body needs to drop core temperature to enter deep sleep. Consistent sleep times. Irregular schedules throw off the timing of deep sleep cycles. Light exercise during the day. It promotes slow-wave sleep, especially in the elderly. And above all, calmness before bed. You can't force deep sleep. You can only invite it. So now, as you lie still and warm, your heart beats slow, your breath steady. Know this. You're not just resting. You're rebuilding, rebalancing, protecting the future version of yourself. This moment, silent, dark, undramatic, is where you become resilient. And you don't even have to try. Just let go. Let the silence do its work. You've made it through the forest of dreams, the valleys of slow waves, the techno battlefield of notifications, and now you're drifting toward morning. The final stretch, the edge of sleep. This is where your brain performs its last quiet miracle. It begins to stitch it all together. All night long, your mind has been absorbing information, your experiences, your emotions, even your weird TikTok binge. And now it's filing, tagging, reorganizing. This is memory consolidation, and it happens most powerfully in the last sleep cycles, when REM and light sleep swirl in a beautiful disorganized soup of insight and structure. You probably wouldn't survive life's emotional roller coaster without this step, because without it, nothing sticks. Names, faces, roots, ideas, they fade. Your brain becomes a chalkboard after rain. Scientists still debate which stages of sleep are responsible for which types of memory. Some say deep sleep helps with fact recall, like remembering where you parked your car. Others believe REM boosts emotional context and creative flexibility. But they all agree on this: without sleep, memories aren't just blurry, they're corrupted. And the most delicate threads in that memory quilt: emotional memories. If you're underslept, the brain's emotional center, your amygdala, becomes unregulated. You feel things too strongly or not at all. You're irritable, overly reactive, or emotionally numb. Your frontal lobe, which normally reins in those impulses, just throws up its hands like, "Good luck, buddy." Ever cry over a sandwich commercial the day after pulling an all-nighter? That's why. Meanwhile, something else is happening. Your sense of self is being repaired. Each night, the brain rebuilds your inner narrative, weaving together who you were yesterday with who you believe you'll be tomorrow. During sleep, especially REM, your mind quietly updates your personal story. It makes meaning from chaos, settles internal conflict, and strengthens your identity. Here's a quirky tidbit. Studies suggest that people who are dreaming during REM show heightened activity in regions related to self-awareness and social cognition. So yes, while dreaming of flying sharks and underwater opera houses, your brain is also doing therapy. And what about the body? As dawn approaches, cortisol begins its gentle rise again, prepping you to wake. Your temperature starts to climb, your muscles regain tone, and your body begins shifting out of paralysis. It's the soft reboot of morning biology. No alarm needed if you're lucky. And maybe, just maybe, your final dream is one you'll remember. Not all do. In fact, most vanish within minutes of waking. But the ones that stay, they often feel profound, cryptic, like your subconscious left you a note written in fog. So as the first light of morning creeps in, soft grey, gentle gold, your brain is just finishing its most vital work. Not the dreams, not the repairs, but the quiet recalibration of you. You wake up not as the same person you were the night before, but as a slightly upgraded version. One that's processed more, healed a little, connected some threads, let go of a few weights. Sleep did that, and you didn't have to do a thing. Now, let's slow everything down for a moment. You're here still. The room is quiet. The air is soft. And while this story might be ending, your night isn't over yet. Soften your breath now. Let your shoulders sink deeper into the mattress. You've made it through a journey that stretched across neurons and night skies, dreams and deep waves, ancient instincts and glowing screens. You've wandered into caves of memory, danced through REM lightning storms, and swayed with the rhythms of your own biology. There is nothing left for you to do. The systems that keep you alive are humming gently beneath the surface. Your heart steady. Your breath slower now. Your muscles uncoiled and weightless. Sleep is no longer something you must chase. It's already here. Let your thoughts grow slower, so slow they stop trying to finish themselves. Let them trail off like the ends of old songs, like footsteps fading into fog. Every sound now belongs to the quiet. Every moment is padded in stillness. And you, in the center of it all, are completely safe. If your mind drifts, again, let it. Don't follow. Don't argue. Just allow. Your bed is a raft on the sea of night. No storm is coming. No destination required. You are afloat. You are adrift. You are exactly where you're meant to be. The work is done. The story has been told. Now rest. Just rest. End of script. Sweet dreams.